Between the Lines with Virtual Academy. We all have a story to tell.
Hello and welcome to a special edition of Between the Lines with Virtual Academy. We are situated in the middle of Union Station in St. Louis, Missouri at the 2023 Ileeta Conference, where for the first time we're not only recording in front of a live audience, we're also doing a live stream on YouTube, literally going without a net tonight at the event hosted, co-sponsored by Virtual Academy and MILO Range Systems. And here on the trapeze with me is the host of the podcast, a guy who was one of the featured speakers at Emerson Hour at Ileeta last night, something he managed to keep a secret from me for months. I thought we were much closer than that. I thought he would spill the beans to me, but he didn't. He kept it a secret. Mr. Michael Warren.
Hey, you know, it's a pleasure to be here. And you know what? I would be remiss if I didn't say that I spilled the beans to somebody. And you may know the guy. You know him as Left of Greg.
Oh.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you're ribbing me.
Hey, you know, it's a pleasure for us to be here tonight, broadcasting live. We've got some guests, I think, that are going to be very, very interesting for us. But how have you been enjoying this week?
You know, this is my first Ileeta conference, and it's been a little surreal. It's been a little overwhelming. Just like you said before, we mentioned on an earlier episode we recorded, seeing all the faces of the guests we've had on before, it's like, oh, I know that person. It's really kind of neat for me.
I enjoy coming here every year. I look forward to it. And before, no, Dan Green, not you. No. Hey, for those who are here live, please remember that we are giving away a free pair of iPod Pros. Right over here, you will see a table that has a container for you to drop your business card or a slip of paper with your information in it. We will be drawing that at the end of the podcast. You do need to be present to win.
Excellent. And I don't have any of these iPod Pros, so I'm not eligible to win, but they're really nice. I'd like to have them.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so why don't you go ahead and tell us about our first guest here tonight?
All right, we've got several guests lined up tonight, and our first guest is a retired sergeant from Central Oregon with over 30 years of law enforcement experience and 25 years of experience as a firearm instructor. He's the owner of Combative Firearms Training, providing instruction certification and instructor development classes to law enforcement, military, and private security. He was named Trainer of the Year at last year's Ileeta Conference, and like our host, he was a featured speaker at the Emerson Hour event last night. Please welcome into Between the Lines, Todd Fletcher. It's so great to have you here today.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate you having me up here.
Hey, so I have to ask you, were you as nervous as I was last night?
Oh, man. I had butterflies in my stomach for like the last month. and you know what the worst part was is that yesterday afternoon, we're out on the range teaching. We're doing a live fire class yesterday. And I couldn't share it with anybody. And I'm sitting there while guys are shooting. I'm sitting there trying to monitor the range. I'm sitting there working through what I wanted to say once again, because that was kind of going to be my last dress rehearsal, so to speak. Got back here to the hotel and got showered up and cleaned up. And when I walked into the room and I saw you and Tracy and
Kim and Tim and
everybody else, I was like, it actually helped me to relax a little bit.
Did it really? Because when I saw you in the room and I saw the other people in the room, I had an urge to not be nice to Joe Willis. That's what I had an urge, because I felt like he'd suckered us into something, you know. But it ended up good. By the way, you did a fantastic job.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
I do have to point out that I think Mike was giving us some hints all day that something was going on, because he kept saying, I got to meet with Joe Willis at 6 o'clock. I got to meet with Joe Willis at 6 o'clock. And I'm like, you've said that an awful lot, Mike. And I think that was his signal to us in just a subtle way. But he never gave anything away, and I'm a little... I respect you for that, and I'm a little disappointed because I thought we had a closer relationship.
You know what's interesting is that Billy Etheridge is here, and he's one of our adjunct instructors from Potter County Sheriff's Office in Texas. He didn't know. He didn't know, and so I'm like, we got to get back to the room. Got to go downstairs. We got to go save some seats. And he's like, what are you in a hurry for?
Because
I don't know, Billy Bob. We just got to go be somewhere.
Don't ask questions, Hey, but I was dropping hints to them. But in our line of work, that's what we call a clue.
Right.
They just weren't picking up on them. So tell me that you're retired now.
Yes.
But you're not really fully retired because you run a training company, don't you?
I do. Combative firearms training, and I feel like I'm busier now than when I was working full time.
So tell us a little bit about what that training company, what the type of training you provide.
So we don't do any armed citizen classes anymore. We used to, but we don't now. We definitely have found the niche that we enjoy doing the most, and that is teaching law enforcement firearms instructors, private security firearms instructors, and military firearms instructors. So we focus in on that. We offer some, like our handgun instructor certification, patrol rifle instructor certification, some ongoing continuing education type classes like Building Better Shooters Advanced Firearms Instructor course, developing combative speed and accuracy, our pistol mounted optics instructor course, and some others.
And so if somebody wanted to get some more information about maybe hosting you or maybe attending one of your classes, what's the best way for them to get some information from you?
Two ways. You can go to our website, www.combativefirearms.com. There's a calendar on there. Our short bios are on there. You can click on links to get registered and take care of all that stuff on there, or you can just call me. Call me, text me, whatever, 940-445-1110.
And folks, if you haven't ever attended one of his classes, I would highly suggest that you do so. The training is fantastic. The instructor, you get what you get, right? Hey, but last year, in addition to being named the Ileeta Trainer of the Year, you also were named to the advisory board, weren't you?
Yeah, it's kind of surreal.
Let's just pile on while we got him right here, right?
Yeah, it was. So you were saying this is your first Ileeta and how surreal it is. And I've been coming to Ileeta since like 07, 08. There was 1 year that I missed that was non-COVID related. And so, to me, last year is still kind of a blur, the entire conference. I was so pumped and ready for the conference, and opening ceremonies comes in, and I just got floored. I mean, I had zero idea that was coming. I had no idea what to say when I was up there. I was absolutely speechless. And man, if you've ever been to my classes, I don't get speechless very often.
So you're going to have like an Oscar speech ready to go, in case.
No, I kind of up there wetting myself in front of all the members.
Boy, that sounds a lot like our podcast sometimes, doesn't it? Yeah, not knowing what to say and wetting ourselves. I mean, but I thought you did a fantastic job when that did happen to you. But I would really like to hear, because now you're part of the Ileeta leadership team. And so that's a unique perspective on this conference and on this organization. For those out there who maybe are in leadership positions and they're not sure whether or not they should have their people be a part of this, what would you tell them about this type of organization that we have?
Well, there's a reason why I keep coming back, right? And that's because of the people that make this conference happen, and that's our members, right? It is amazing to be surrounded by people that are looking for a better way, right? Instead of just being happy or at least satisfied with the status quo, they're looking for a better way of doing things. They're looking for a better way to design curriculum, better way to present material, a way to push the envelope of performance, right? And we're surrounded by them here. And where else can you find this quality of trainers and instructors to surround yourself with? If it's true that you are the company that you keep, the Ileeta conference is the elite of the elite.
And that's a great way of putting it right there, because to me, coming to Ileeta is one of those times where you're sitting around in places like this and you're having informal conversation and you go, hey, you know what? I have been tasked with developing a training program on this particular topic. And invariably somebody there was, hey, I just did one of those last year. And you can gain that information, and the beautiful things, they'll share it with you. And it saves dollars, it saves time.
Oh, man.
So the quality of the training goes up as a result of this.
Just kind of a quick story, just because of recency bias for me, but it's a really good example. So the last couple of years, I've come here and I've taken classes from Dan Frazier, Kick-Ass Presentations, right? Antonio Zarzosa with his PowerPoint with cinematics, and getting those little bite-sized chunks of that information, and then going back and applying it. Well, I've been trying to get to Instructor Z's PowerPoint with cinematics class for like 2 years. Well, last week I finally was able to get to one. So last Monday I go down near Austin, Texas, and I get into his class. Complete game changer. And it happened because of Ileeta, right? So,
well, I think it's one of the things to point out for our listeners, if you've never been here, one of the things that I've never had it not happen is that when you attend a class here, the instructor gives you their contact information. And so if 2 weeks removed from the conference, if you need help, you can reach out to them. And you know what? They answer.
Oh, it's weird, isn't it? You know, this is one of those places that I don't think that there are a lot of people that go to Ileeta that are actually procrastinators, right? And yet the training industry is filled with a whole lot of promises, right?
Yes.
And not a whole lot of delivery, right? This place is different. You know, it's easy for me to pick up the phone and call Brian Hill or Tim Janowick or Dan Green or whoever. And
nobody calls Dan Green, you sorry son of a gun, you.
But they're going to answer your call and help answer your questions and help provide solutions for whatever problem you're working on.
And the power of numbers increases the credibility and defensibility of the training that we provide at our individual agencies.
Absolutely. So, one of the other things about Ileeta and the Ileeta conference that I think is absolutely amazing is I feel like the worst house in the best neighborhood, right? I'm surrounded by all these really smart people, and I'm like riding their coattails to make our training programs better for our students. And that is absolute fact, whether it's a PowerPoint classroom presentation, picking up drills from people like Alexandra Nelson or Paulo Grandis. I can do that here and to help make our classes better for our students.
What you're talking about really is networking, and we have done a ton of that because a lot of our guests on the podcast have come as a result of connections made at Ileeta, right, Mike?
Absolutely. And here's the other thing, Brent, that I want to point out is that when you take somebody else's information, some of the stuff that they've taught, they want you to use it in their training program. Yeah. They don't get upset when you take it and you use it as your own.
I always try to give credit, but generally speaking, it came from somebody else and somebody else and somebody else. So when people say, hey, can I take this drill back and use it on my range? I'm like, yes, please do. That's why I'm giving you this material, right?
And ideally, they get back in touch with you and say, hey, it made a difference in this person over here, or here was an issue we ran into. Yeah. And so it's a continual improvement type of activity.
Yeah, and you get that here. And that's I don't know anywhere else to find that.
Well, we're wrapping things up with you, but we want to thank you. We want to thank you for being a part of our podcast tonight. But I would also like to personally thank you for providing leadership in this organization that I love and being part of the solution for the people that work in this profession. Man, I cannot thank you enough for what you do.
Well, I'm just honored to have been invited to serve. I mean, these are the people we do it for, and the people that they're leaving at home.
As you look out over this crowd right here, this really is the cream of the crop in American society, isn't it?
It is amazing. These people continue to impress me every day, every minute, every class that I present. I am absolutely amazed by the character of the people that serve.
That's awesome. Hey, thank you so much for being with us tonight, my brother. I appreciate you, all right?
It was a pleasure to have you on, and congratulations on your Train of the Year from last year and speaking at Emerson Hour last year. It's just incredible.
Thank you. I appreciate it, guys.
Thanks, man.
All right, man. Hey, Brent, it's a gathering of rock stars. This is the Comic-Con of the law enforcement training world. You get to sit around and do
with less cosplay, less dressing up.
Well, I don't know. Dan Green, when we record, where's Dan?
Dan's he's Dan, a sharp-dressed man.
I'm wondering if that dude's wearing the same pair of shoes that he had on today because he brought 5 of them with him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of dressing up, but it really is a family-like atmosphere here. I mean, have you noticed that? I mean, you're the first time attendee perspective, but have you found that to be true?
It is to a certain extent. It's more so for you because you're coming back year after year after year, and so it really is like a family reunion type environment. For me, like I mentioned on one of the episodes we recorded today, it's like going to Disney World for the first time because you're seeing people that you're like, wow, I know that, I recognize that person, that person, that person. So it's kind of overwhelming, and I haven't done as much networking as you probably have because I've been as the co-host. I not only co-host, I produce the podcast. I'm over there prepping, getting ready. So I want to get out, shake hands, and meet some more folks eventually.
Well, and we've had our next guest on our podcast. Yeah, he's been on our podcast before, but he gets to come back again. It's a rare occasion, that we have repeat guests. But there's a reason why he's a repeat guest. So what can you tell us about our next guest tonight?
Not only is it a rare occasion, it's never happened before. I believe our next guest is our first ever two-time guest on the podcast. He appeared with us just a couple of weeks ago in episode 40, where he was giving us an inside look at this conference this year, Ileeta 2023. He's a Marine Corps veteran with over 20 years of law enforcement experience. He's also the owner and trainer for Mental Ammo, and earlier this week, he was named Trainer of the Year for Ileeta 2023. It is our pleasure to welcome back to Between the Lines, Mr. Brian Hill. Thank you so much, and congratulations, man.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate it.
This was a big week. You knew it was going to be a big week when you came here. You just didn't know how big a week, right?
It's always a big week when you come here. Always a big week.
But hey, let's go back to yesterday morning if we could. You're sitting in opening ceremonies, and opening ceremonies always gets to me, because we have the posting of the colors, and I know you're a patriotic guy like I am, and then the remembrance of those that we've lost over the past year. But we go through this whole deal, and then all of a sudden the executive director gets up there and he starts talking about somebody, and he starts listing off these attributes, and it's like, that's me. Oh wait, that's still me. At what point did you realize it was you?
Well, not right away. When he the first bullet point that Harvey hit on was he's a Marine, and so I'm start looking out in the crowd. Who else here is a Marine? Then the second bullet point, I don't remember what that was, and then the third bullet point, and then I think it was the fourth bullet point where he said Colorado Post, and I was standing near a wall, and I just kind of fell back against the wall, and I think I dropped one of those F-bomb type things.
Thank you, Paul Hasselberger.
So yeah, it was. I was shocked, very shocked, surprised, and a lot of questions. How did I get to this point? Yeah, it was shocking.
Okay, wait, Brent, I need to point something out here, because while this guy was about to be named Trainer of the Year, he was actually doing work on behalf of the Ileeta organization, because you were streaming what was going on, right?
We were doing, myself and Joe Willis were streaming live the opening ceremonies. And Joe kind of took over. We're using my cell phone, but Joe kind of took over, and I didn't know this till after I won Trainer of the Year, that he told me, Harvey told him last night, don't let Brian do anything during the ceremony.
In our line of work, that's what we call a clue, right?
A clue,
but not for you, because you didn't know. But how incredible is it for you as an individual trainer to be recognized by your peers, by these folks right here, as the Trainer of the Year? What does that mean to you?
It's an honor. It's a huge honor. Very humbling. And I hate talking about myself, and I hate talking about these types of things, but it's just one of those moments where you say, wow, how did I get to this point? I'm just a kid from a small town in Nebraska, Imperial, Nebraska, 2,000 people. How did I end up in an international organization teaching here and becoming Trainer of the Year? I just keep questioning myself.
Well, I'm going to answer some of that for you. You're one of the hardest working, most dedicated professionals that I've ever met. This wasn't something that was given to you. This was something you earned by how you go about doing your business. You are an example of what a trainer should be. That's how you got it. Now, you don't like talking about yourself, so I'm going to talk about you for a second. One of the most self-deprecating dudes that I've ever met, right? And in fact, during his speech, unprepared because he had no idea he was getting it, right? But during his speech, he gave credit to others for where he was at. And I think that that's a testament, a testimony to the type person you are and to the type people in this organization who are willing to help you become what you became yesterday.
No, absolutely. I would not be here if it wasn't for so many people to push me, encourage me, and I got to give the credit to a lot of people, but John Bostaine, we sat in a cheesecake factory in Denver, Colorado during an IACP conference, and he said, Brian, you need to teach at the Ileeta conference. I'm like, how in the world? And I asked the same question. I'm just a kid from a small town, Nebraska. What do I have to offer some of the best training instructors in the entire world? So we scratched out on a napkin and we came up with characteristics of the exceptional trainer. And that was my very first class that I taught. And I was very humble because the classroom was standing room only on that first class. And I was, wow, this is great. And I've been teaching here every year since and love it. I love it.
Mike, this is something that came up earlier today. We talked to Graham Tinius, and it boils down to someone believing in you when you're like, I'm not quite sure I'm qualified or I'm ready to do this yet. But sometimes when someone says, no, you need to do that, that's the push that you need to go forward, right?
Absolutely. And you said you see me as one of the hardest working people. I believe in this organization. I believe in Ileeta. Ileeta is the best organization for any law enforcement trainer.
Okay, so would it be safe to say, based upon that last statement then, that you believe that Ileeta is one of the most important tools that a person who is a trainer or perhaps aspiring to be a trainer can put on their tool belt? That it's something that becomes indispensable.
You're absolutely correct. This training conference, every year we have this training conference, you meet some wonderful, powerful, influential people at this conference, and everybody is here to help the other person. There are no egos here. It's a peer-driven organization, and the encouragement that you get here from day one, these brand new instructors that are coming here for the first time. There's one I just talked to in the hallway today and asked him to be on a Ileeta Live thing, and he's like, wow, me? Really? I said, you are excited to be here. We need to show your excitement to everybody else.
It's almost a cheerleading organization because everybody's cheering everybody on. And it's like every single person not only wants you to succeed, but they want you to be the next trainer of the year. And they'll do whatever they can to help you get to that point, right?
Absolutely.
Now we talked about it on our podcast where we had why Ileeta. Okay, so we're in the middle of this conference. So what would you encourage an instructor? They've got a year to plan for it. If somebody wanted to present next year, how would you deliver that John Bostaine napkin talk? You know, what would you tell them to do so that they could be here and they could be like you and all these other folks that are here making the profession better?
Everybody has something to offer. If you're a law enforcement instructor, you should be a part of this organization. And when you come here, you are accepted. You know what? It's not an organization. This is a family. Ileeta is a family.
Couldn't agree more.
I've said that for many years, but it's a family. You are accepted into our family. We want to see everybody in this family succeed. And everybody here is willing to give the shirt off of their back to see somebody become the next trainer of the year, the next most inspirational, thought-provoking instructor that any agency would want and be happy to have in their organization. That's what this organization is about, building everybody else up. And we are here to help you, every one of you, become better tomorrow than you are today.
And so I want to throw a challenge out there to all the trainers, both that are here with us live and those that are joining us on our live stream and maybe who are listening to the recording. I want you to blow up Harvey's inbox when the instructor proposal request goes out. Make their job tough when they have to go through and decide what's going to make it and what's not going to make it.
Get out of your comfort zone, put in that proposal to teach next year. I think the proposals come out sometime around October where they seek proposals. Put it in. Come here and teach the world's best law enforcement instructors. Nobody wants to see an instructor fail. We want to see you get better, and we want to make sure that you are a better instructor.
So 2023 Trainer of the Year, where do you go from here? I have to assume that it lights a fire under you. Say, I got to. What can I do next? How do I evolve from here?
That's a good question. I don't know. You know, it's adding value to others to make sure that they are becoming the best of the best and better every single day. They need to know that doesn't matter where you come from, every single trainer has a bad day. Every single trainer had to start somewhere, and we got to lift you up, and you will become better, and you will be the next maybe spokesperson for your agency, maybe the lead trainer for your agency. But if you come here to Ileeta, you will be one of the best trainers that your organization
Maybe you even become the next Trainer of the Year.
The Trainer of the Year.
All right.
Absolutely.
So Brent and I have a little celebration right here, and this right here was provided by our friends and our co-sponsors of this event, MILO. But we're going to have a little toast here to this year's Trainer of the Year, and so hopefully we can do this without choking. And let me grab this right here. I'm doing my bestest to try and get Milo's out there, because these folks have been fantastic partners for this event right here. So here is to Brian Hill, the 2023 Ileeta Trainer of the Year. Congratulations,
Thank you
my
very
brother.
much. Thank you, MILO, and thank you, Virtual Academy.
Woohoo! Boy, we need to have that on a podcast a lot more often, right there.
They make our episodes a little bit more interesting.
Absolutely.
Hey, but Brian, we appreciate you being on, and again, Brent and I enjoyed our first conversation with you, and when we found out that you were the Trainer of the Year, we couldn't have been happier individually or as representatives of Virtual Academy. So again, congratulations, man.
Thank you guys so much.
Thanks for being on with us tonight, my man.
Thank you for all you are doing for Ileeta.
Appreciate you, brother.
And listen, if you want to hear more from Brian, go back and listen to, the episode is a Look Inside Ileeta. Episode 40 came out February of 2023. You can learn more about Brian, Mental Ammo. You've been a big supporter of our podcast on social media, and we thank you for that. You're liking, you're retweeting, and we appreciate that.
You guys have an awesome, very meaningful podcast. So good job.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Hey, Brent, the second time, I hate to say it, may have even been better than the first.
Well, it's a special moment.
It's a celebration.
It is. And, there was alcohol involved in this one. So
well, that certainly didn't hurt things, did it?
That, kind of helps a little bit.
But for those who are here live, again, if you want to enter for a chance to win the AirPod Pros, the entry is right over here. We've got one more session in our podcast, and
we need to point out, if you're watching the live stream, we've got our nice Between the Lines podcast T-shirts.
Absolutely. Why don't we have a former Marine throw some of them out in the
He's
audience?
probably got a better arm than I do.
Go ahead and take your headgear off there, sir, and I'm going to have you throw some of these out there into the audience. And those who aren't paying attention, you're doing so at your own. Stay clear of the
mac and cheese bar.
All right. Yeah, step back away from the bar, folks. There you go. Got another one for you. Thanks, Brian. We appreciate you, man. All right. Hey, Britt, you know what? it's going a lot smoother than I thought it was going to be, because I have to admit, I had a little bit of trepidation about doing this type of thing live.
No, it's as smooth as that little bit of alcohol we took there. Yeah,
I poured yours. I know it's more than just a little, my brother.
It was very, very nice. No, this is really nice. It's very communal. And, you know, what happens is a lot of times we open up, we share things when we sit down at a meal together, and that's what we're doing here tonight. At Ileeta, folks are sitting down, they're networking, they're talking with one another, and that's extremely important.
Absolutely. And the other thing I want to point out as we're bringing our next guest on is there is such a feeling of cooperation and a desire for people to succeed. And that's how this next thing came about. We partnered with MILO to put this on. And so we're going to, tell you what, why don't you go ahead and introduce our next guest here for us?
Well, our next guest is a training content specialist with MILO, a world-leading provider of interactive simulation training, curriculum, range design, and equipment. He's a former police officer with 11 years of experience, including canine, tactical entry, emergency medical response, crisis intervention, and field training, and he now uses his experience to create new and progressive training scenarios used on MILO systems. Please welcome Joe Kehoe to Between the Lines. It's great to have you in tonight.
How you doing there, Joe?
Very good. Thank you
Hey,
so much.
you've been a busy man today.
Extremely busy.
What have you been doing?
So I've been running folks through the Ileeta Cup, which is the challenge scenario that's also sponsored through Ileeta. We had about 27 people run through it today, and I mean, everyone learned something. Even if they weren't the winner, they still, I think, got a lot of value out of it.
That's the whole purpose of that type of training, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Everybody learns something. Now, you brought a guest here.
I did.
So why don't you go ahead and take care of introducing him for us?
Go ahead. So this is one of my coworkers. I'll let him take the room from that.
Yeah, my name's Brian Vella. I partner with MILO Range. I'm here representing the Folds of Honor. So the Folds of Honor is a nonprofit that we raise money to provide educational scholarships for children that had a family member killed or wounded in the line of duty. But the most exciting thing about the Folds of Honor is that over the last 12 months, we've moved just from supporting military families to supporting our first responders. So if you're an officer, you're a firefighter, you're in the line of duty, you get severely injured, you get, unfortunately, make the ultimate sacrifice. We are coming in to step in to raise educational scholarships to help put their children through school. So our motto is honor their sacrifice, educate their legacy.
Man, that is fantastic. And just for our listeners and the folks that can see it, on the MILO glass, milk glass that was provided tonight, right?
Right.
We have the MILO symbol, but in another show that we work together, right, to support this community, we have your symbol on the back. And that is a great cause. Fantastic cause. It's unfortunate that we need it.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely unfortunate. But if somebody wanted to support that cause, where would they go to do that?
So you can go to foldsofhonor.org, and you can go and you can be a one-time donor there. You can go and become a residual donor, and they'll pull out every week or every month or whatever system that you want. But we'll take $1. We'll take as much as you want. Over the last 7 years, we've been able to raise $200 million, and 91 cents out of every single dollar goes to the cause.
And it's important why you bring that up. 91 cents out of $1. That is well above the industry norm, isn't it?
Absolutely. We are in the top 1% of all nonprofits across the country that meet that standard, that threshold. And we're proud to say that it continues to increase. We were 89 cents when I was here last year, and we put the jar out. We were able to raise over $1,000. We were 89 cents of every dollar. And as we've grown, we're now 91 cents of every dollar. So we have a very lean organization that is all about every dollar that we can raise goes back to the cause. And the one thing that we really enjoy about it, that we always like to touch on, is that the funds that we raise, it goes to your community first. So if we're the Motor City chapter, that's a chapter that I'm a part of. The money that we raise, we've raised $400,000 so far this year. The money we raise goes to help out those scholarships in our community first, and then after that it goes to headquarters. So when you're giving $1, you're giving $1 to your community.
So it has local, proximal impact on those that do make that sacrifice.
Absolutely.
Man, that's a great organization to be partnered with, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So let's talk MILO for a second,
Sure.
if we could. For those who may not know, and I find it hard to believe that people still don't know what MILO is all about, what is it you guys provide to the law enforcement community?
So we provide the training simulators that were used all over the world. Basically, you can buy the system, all the content that comes with it. We're continuously putting out new training content. We try to stay up to date on all these current events, all the things that police officers are asked to do now. We've also branched off. We're commercial. We have live fire systems. We have schools use them, nursing students use them. So it has such a broad range of applications.
And it's important that it's based off of things that have actually happened, because that takes something from the abstract world and it brings in the world of concrete, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we take a lot of the ideas that I'm tasked with bringing up new scenarios. I take from the headlines, and it's unfortunate, but if we can help prevent some of these tragedies from happening again, that's also what it's about.
And the thing is, it's set up. You guys, when a system is purchased, you guys help set it up. It's easy to run. It's user friendly. And so when there's downtime, you don't have to spend a whole day working on it. You can actually say, hey, you know what, we got a couple free hours. Let's go do some things. So you can have that regular ongoing training rather than that once a year training that perhaps a lot of agencies are experiencing.
Right. You can run through a few scenarios in just a few minutes, or you could spend your whole days in service training focusing on a particular topic, use of force, going over a new policy, procedure, directive that came down from your administration.
Man, that is a fantastic system, and I have to pause here for just a second. Brent, it's about to get dorky.
Well, at least once an episode it does, so I'm used to it.
I almost printed a sign up that said "Left to Brent" and put it up here tonight. But
I know where we're going.
Oh yeah. So you guys have been started doing some work with some guys that I'm big fans of. So who are
Mike big fans of? I mean, I think you're on staff.
I can't think of any bigger words than big fan. So what are you guys doing, and who are you doing it with, I guess?
So Arcadia Cognerati, Brian Marion, Greg Williams, great partners and friends of MILO. They came to us and we partnered on some new a series now of scenarios that basically, in a nutshell, it focuses on the human behavior pattern recognition. We know Greg Williams, the godfather of that.
The guru.
Yes, that's right. So, I mean, he's brought, Brian and Greg have brought their special brand of human behavior pattern recognition into these specific scenarios in the series, where you can expand and contract these scenarios for your most green officer to the most veteran, picking up on the smallest minutia, the details, body languages, your location, time of day. All these little factors come into play, and you can adjust them based on the levels of experience.
And I think it's important for our folks to understand that whole system is designed to prevent or mitigate the harmful event, because law enforcement by and large does a really good job at responding after the significant event, but the damage has already been done. This type of training right here, it helps us try to ward off that type of event.
Exactly. So it almost, you can kind of catch the train before it runs off the tracks.
Oh, man. And let's throw it out here, man. My man, Greg, Michigan law enforcement officer,
That's
just
right.
like you
That's
and I
right.
were. So
Yeah.
is it any surprise to any of our listeners that that's where this type of stuff originated? Just throwing it out there.
He's got some stories, and we
Oh,
love
my
to hear
goodness.
them.
And so throw the plug out there, the free commercial. Left of Greg podcast
Yeah.
is a fantastic resource of information, but you showing loyalty. You should only listen to it after you listen to the most current episode of Between the Lines.
That's the first time you've ever said that.
Well, I listened to theirs, and now I'm on one. It's a crazy world.
I don't think that's a coincidence.
No.
Just throwing it out
No,
there.
it's not.
So, hey, but you guys, when it comes to Ileeta, MILO has been a long-term sponsor of this conference. Why is this conference so important to you from the vendor perspective? What does it bring to you?
Well, not only the exposure that we get, but it allows us to connect and network with so many different professionals from all over the world. Customers and just passers-by will bring us ideas, and do you have scenarios like this? Do you have this? And it gives us the new ideas to continue, because that's what we're here for. We're here to provide content for our customers, and who knows how they'll apply it, but the littlest exposure to a scenario could have such far-reaching effects.
And so what you're telling me is that much like Todd and Brian talked about how trainers are willing to share their experiences and their material with other trainers, they're also willing to share it with you to improve the quality of your product, because your product services those same people.
Absolutely, and we have a lot of former military that work for MILO, former law enforcement, so we speak the language. So we'll start shop talking, and then on both sides of the coin, we're getting ideas on how to improve either their business or their organization along with ours.
Man, that is fantastic. So if somebody is listening to this and they wanted more information about your system, what's the best way for them to go and get that information?
MILO range, just you can search for that. It'll come up. We have all the information for live fire, virtual, the cognitive division, which I'm a part of, where we partner with clinicians, social workers on set for filming. We have to make this stuff accurate and portrayed accurately in order to get the value out of the training.
Well, I know I speak for Brent and myself. How much we appreciate this partnership that we have tonight for this event right here. As I look out over these fantastic folks, they deserve this type of event. These people, for the Chiefs who are listening out there, okay, your people aren't coming up here and screwing around. They're going to class from the beginning of the day until the end of the day. But the learning doesn't stop there. It continues on into, we shall say, the social hour. And oftentimes it continues into late at night. I think that from a vendor perspective, if you're not here vending at this show, you're not serious about being in the law enforcement field.
Right. There's so many opportunities at all these shows, really, to make these connections and just improve our service, our public service to these people. This
Absolutely.
is why we're here.
And I'm going to throw a shout out to the leadership team at Ileeta. They're incredibly nice to work with. They bend over backwards to try and make this conference for vendors as productive as they can possibly make it.
Absolutely, and the staff here, the beautiful venue we have, you couldn't imagine a cooler place. This is my first year, so I'm blown away.
Dude, this is my favorite hotel in the entire
amazing.
world. And it's kind of sad, but hardly ever leave the building the entire week.
We haven't yet.
It's crazy. I don't even know what the weather's like out there. It doesn't matter, right?
I've got on shorts right now, and it's freezing outside.
There's a reason why we don't let Britt stand up during this little live broadcast.
Yeah, get blinded by my legs.
That's right.
We're not working from home anymore.
Right. Yeah.
Well,
Sometimes.
Work's an awfully strong word for what some people are doing from home, buddy.
Well, Joe Willis mentioned something last night at the end of Emerson Hour where he said, take what you've heard tonight, go out to the reception afterwards and continue that conversation. And that's what they can do here is they can get the training, they can get learning during the day, and then continue those conversations. How important is that to just get the one-on-one with your colleagues?
Absolutely. See him at the booth, talk a little bit, you got to move on. This is where you can pick up where you left off.
It is a once in a year opportunity. It really is. And there's some great conferences out there, but I think this one right here is for trainers, the Mecca. This is the place you need to be.
Right.
Hey, well, we really appreciate you guys being on tonight. If we can ever be of service to you, please let us know. We thank you for what you do, for making this conference what it is. So thank you guys for partnering with us. Make sure, folks, if you're here, over there is where you need to stop. That's where the good stuff is at. Just throwing it out there. But thanks, guys, for coming on.
Thank you so much.
And honestly, we'd like to have you guys on in long form in one of our podcast episodes to go further on what we touched on tonight.
I'd love it.
Hey, both of you are local to me, so things are good, right?
Yes.
We'll make it
Yes.
easy.
Yeah.
All right.
Have a great night.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hey, all right. Hey, Brent, as we're starting to wrap things up, I'm going to have to ask one of our folks to go and grab the business cards, because it's time to do a drawing.
Yes, we got these Apple AirPod Pros that we're going to be giving away. I believe they even have Between the Lines engraved on them.
Hey, but let's be honest with each other. We were told that they have, but we were scared to open the box because we don't want to avoid any warranties or anything.
They've never been open, so we'll draw for that in just a little bit. If folks are tuning in the live stream on YouTube for the first time and they're like, what is this? What's this all about? Between the Lines with virtualacademy.com. We've got new episodes that we put out each and every Tuesday morning, and we have a plethora, as they say in Three Amigos, a plethora of episodes, the back episodes you guys can go and check out, and some amazing guests. Let's talk about some guests we've had on before. One of the speakers last night, in addition to you, Kim Schlau.
Oh, my goodness.
An amazing episode with her. Max Schackner was on just a couple of weeks ago, an emotional episode. We had David Rausch from the TBI on. So you get to hear these intimate conversations in the episodes that we have. These people kind of let their guard down and they talk open and honestly, and just the candor that they share their stories. It's amazing.
And that's why we always put it at the end of every episode, and we try to put it out there as often as we can. If you have a story to tell, we want to hear from you. We try to keep on top of things, but we want good stories. And so please reach out to us. Reach out to us on the website. I don't even know all the ones that we play on now. The
social media wise, we're on LinkedIn, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, and you'll find links to all that on our website, Between the Lines with virtualacademy.com. And like we talked about today, we did an episode with Tim Barfield, and he said, if people are struggling with PTSD or mental issues, contact me. Just the level of support that we have from our guests, it's amazing. They want to help this community. They want to see the community get better and help society as a whole. And
that's the important part. If our law enforcement community is healthy, they are in a better position to better serve the communities that they're trying to keep safer. And so if we want to improve that quality, then we got to improve the quality of the training. And that is what Ileeta is all about. And
it's been such a great experience for me. This is an amazing space to be in. And you said this is the 20th year that Ileeta has been here in St. Louis.
What? Not here in St. Louis. 20th year overall as an organization. But think about the breadth, how quickly they've grown in those 20 years. And I guess before we sign off, we should be saying thank you to Harvey Hedden and to Brian Willis and Mary Grace for all their incredible support.
Roger, right?
Where's my man Roger is on the JOB when it comes to technical support. But I see that you have been handed a card. And this right here is going to be the winner of the AirPod Pros. You must be present to win. Other restrictions apply.
So, I want you to announce this name. Who's our...
Oh, my God. Look who we have sneaking up beside us. The best dressed man in the entire conference, Dan Gray. No, thank you. No, the food's not going to help you, Chuckles. All right. I am hoping that Assistant Supervisor Haley Moore of the Southwest Idaho Juvenile Detention Center. Are you here?
Haley, there she is. We got our winner for some iPod Pros.
Hey, you've got two
AirPod
hands.
Pros.
Feel free to bring a drink when you come.
Congratulations to her. Haley Moore, this is amazing. You get these AirPods. I'm envious right now.
And as a bonus,
thank you so much.
Even more important than the AirPods, you also get a Between the Lines T-shirt. Thank you for being here tonight. Hey, Brett. All the hard work, and we need to recognize the rest of the team, the ones that operate in the background, our own Brandon Kettle and Aaron Bevel for the hard work that they put in, getting things set up. You guys are on the JOB. Thank you so much for your work.
Very much so, and I keep telling those guys, listen, I'm talent. I don't need to be carrying equipment, but they don't listen to me.
They don't listen to me either. But hey, folks, thank you so much for coming out tonight. Please make sure that you stop by our co-sponsor and support MILO. Their stuff is good. And we thank you for being here tonight. So,
And remember, new episodes each and every Tuesday morning between the lines of virtualacademy.com. It's been a pleasure to be here at Ileeta 2023. The people that I've been able to meet, the guests that we've had on the podcast this week, it's been truly amazing from my first experience. And like you said, I now look forward to coming back next year
Absolutely.
to feel that family reunion feel that you're talking about.
absolutely, man. I can't wait for next year, and this thing ain't even over yet.
Yeah, so thank you all for being a part of the event tonight. Thank you to MILO, and thank you to Virtual Academy for co-sponsoring this event. It's truly amazing.
Very good, man.
Thank y'all.